Hello and welcome to Prologue. My name is Fiona Kyle. I'm the dramaturg for this production, and it's my pleasure to introduce the prologue for the world premiere of Baron Vaughn Cycle Breaker, written and performed by Baron Vaughn and directed by Evren Odcikin. Baron is a stand-up film, TV, and theater actor, as well as voiceover artist, writer, and director. He was Jiva Theater's second artist in residence. As a resident, he founded and curated Jiva's comedy and development series, The Workout Room, and received a commission to develop a full-length show. When Baron joined us to start his 2-year residency, he had a strong idea for his commission, a history play. But it was The Workout Room that gave birth to Cycle Breaker, a play about his own history. As the curator for The Workout Room, Baron invited other comics to come to Jiva to work out their new material, including Kieran Deal, Gabe Malika, and Kelly Howard. He headlined the first series in September 2023 himself to logistically work out the kinks and learn how to best produce, and organized The Workout Room. In his words, he was throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks, anticipating that it would become his next hour that he would take to comedy clubs. He told stories and jokes about his upbringing, his marriage, and being a father of 2 children. And one day he said, "There's nothing like witnessing someone else's childhood to bring your own childhood into focus." That's when his hour became his commission. This wasn't just a stand-up special anymore. This was also a memory play. After that, he chose to headline the second series of The Workout Room in January 2024 to continue to work and build his commission with a live audience. He would do an Ask Me Anything portion and learn in real time what was resonating with the audience and what they wanted to hear more about. He experimented with all stand-up and also explored more emotionally grounded performances to feel out the mode of storytelling. In one performance, he told the story of being in theater school and doing an exercise that became the heart of the story. We realized that while this was a solo show where he would be the only person on stage talking, that he had an unseen scene partner in his mother. Since then, Baron has returned to Jiva for each Workout Room series and for developmental workshops of Cycle Breaker, making him a very active member of the Jiva community. Director of Marketing Sarah Haley met Baron on her very first day of work at Jiva back in 2023, and like everyone here, has been involved in supporting his commission and his artistry. For those of you who are familiar with theater, you may know about the final run or designer run in the rehearsal hall before the creative team and performers move into the theater for technical rehearsals before performances begin. Jiva staff joined for the Cycle Breaker designer run, and afterward Sarah Haley said, "Baron has been part of my Jiva experience from the beginning. I'm not just watching a visiting artist, I'm watching my friend." Cycle Breaker is a culminating performance for Baron, but also for the entire Jiva community, who have worked tirelessly over the years to support his world premiere. Baron himself is an 80s and 90s kid at heart, informed by his childhood in New Mexico, Las Vegas and its casinos, in arcades, and playing video games. As such, the design of the show references 8-bit and pixel art, what we now consider to be sort of retro aesthetics. Baron says it feels nostalgic to him, but that there's an element of toxic nostalgia, wherein the positive memory of the era is tainted by memories of what happened in his personal life. There's a sort of cognitive dissonance. To Baron, the pixel art aesthetic and arcade and video game soundscape represent stunted growth, and they're full images, but not quite the real thing. Those things are at a remove and a distance for him as a person. The creative team that Evren put together is a dream team, and Evren shared, "The design is the other character on stage with Baron, so it was essential to find collaborators with strong visions that were not afraid of a bold metaphor. The play lives stylistically at the intersection of stand-up and theater, so I needed designers who understood Baron's comedy while always grounding their choices in story." Many members of the creative team have been at Jiva before, including Evren himself, who directed a workshop for Plays in Progress in 2019 for Mona Mansour's Unseen. But this is his first time having the opportunity to direct on one of Jiva's stages. The costume designer for this production, Jared Barnes, this is his 3rd time returning to Jiva. He was first here for The Color Purple, and then returned with August Wilson's How I Learned What I Learned. Also on How I Learned What I Learned was lighting designer Xavier Pierce. Production stage manager Chuck K. Bayang recently stage managed in the fielding also for this season's Sancocho by incoming artist-in-residence Kristen Eve Cato. Megan Clark, the production assistant, has been with Jiva since The Play That Goes Wrong, and the dramaturg for the production, myself, Fiona Kyle. I was formerly the literary manager here, and I worked on numerous productions, including, and most importantly, the development of Cycle Breaker over the past several years. It's exciting to have so many returning faces to Jiva, almost like it's a reunion, and to welcome new designers such as scenic designer Tanya Oriana and sound designer and composer Brandon Walcott. Evren, the director, further shared about the team, "I couldn't have asked for a better team. Tanya Oriana's stylized set creates the tsunami of trauma that grounds the play while still staying very playful. Xavier Pierce's colorful lighting design snaps us in and out of the different modes of storytelling, making our tiny space feel expansive and intimate as needed. Brandon Walcott's 8-bit video game / casino-inspired soundscape is a character of its own, lifting and responding to Baron's unique comedic voice. And Jared Barnes brings a stylist's eye to Baron's individuality, making it stage-ready without feeling too designed. Lastly, each person on the team brought a level of kindness that is so important in a play that delves into intergenerational trauma and pain. We laughed a lot in the room, which I know will translate to our audience. It shouldn't be surprising that a show that's part memory play but also part stand-up has a lot of laughter throughout all points of the process. Laughter and tears sometimes go hand in hand, as they both give us emotional releases, and for some, tragedy helps them experience comedy more deeply. It's the intersection that makes them stand out. And as Baron says of comedy writing, a joke is two intersecting stories, and sometimes there is a word or a phrase that is a connector that blends them both. That's what this production of Cycle Breaker does. It connects the two distinct but related genres of storytelling, theater and stand-up. It's also at the heart of what we do in the performing arts. Comedy and drama are the two masks that we are always engaging with and trying to balance. Throughout this entire process, Baron has talked about catharsis. Dramaturgically, catharsis is the emotional impact that a work of art has on an audience that allows them to purge their emotions. Like a laugh or a cry, it's that release we were talking about. When he was first here at Jiva, he said of his own process that he wanted to catharth, a verb that he made up and we continually use throughout this process. In solo performance, it's the height of bravery to put yourself so completely on stage, not only in body, but also in spirit, and to have an audience witness that emotional journey. We hope that even if your lived experience is different, you'll still experience that catharsis or catharth of sharing a space with a story that has a beginning, middle, and end. I'd like to leave you with some thoughts on this style of performance that was written by Adonia Del Placet about another artist working in a similar modality, Spalding Gray, from her article, Spalding Gray, the Humorist and His Method, that was about his performance technique called auto-performance, that I hope you will take with you and will resonate throughout this performance. Gray has found a way to go directly to the performance of self. He is the performer, Spalding Gray, telling stories about the life of a person, Spalding Gray, as the character, Spalding Gray. He is himself and the character at the same time. There is no pretense to attempt to become someone else. All three, performer, person, and character, are one and the same. The process sounds simple enough as he explains it, but the reality is in the style of the performance. There is an important part of wit, intelligence, charm, timing, and a confessional innocence to each performance. Thank you so much for joining me for this prologue, and I hope you enjoy Baron Vaughn Cycle Breaker.